American Revolution initiated the observance of the Constitution in 1955, at which time the organization petitioned the U.S. Congress to dedicate September 17th to 23rd of each year to the commemoration of Constitution Week. Congress adopted the resolution, and on August 2nd, 1956, President Dwight D. Eisenhower signed it into public law. What you are about to see is a very short document about the Constitution of the United States of America. Please welcome the Bessie Lord players.
Congress convened in the Philadelphia State House in 1787. By May 25, 1787, enough delegates had arrived to satisfy a quorum. This means they had enough people to vote. The delegates wanted to meet in secret and not be disturbed, so guards were placed at the entrances and the windows were boarded closed. This, of course, made the room very hot.
I, Robert Morris of Pennsylvania, nominate General George Washington to preside over this convention. All those in favor, please rise. Thank you. All those opposed, please rise. General Washington has been elected unanimously by this convention to be presiding officer.
I accept this position, but not without stating my lack of qualifications to do this job for such an august body. Please accept my apology in advance for any errors I might commit in the course of these deliberations.
James Madison is only 36 years of age and is a brilliant thinker. His critical role at the convention resulted in him being seen as the father of the Constitution. Madison arrived in Philadelphia weeks before the other delegates. He used this time to organize his thoughts and to plot out what he wanted to accomplish. His work became known as the Virginia Plan. Virginia Governor Edmund Randolph presented this plan on May 29, 1787. It should be noted that on the same day, Charles Pinckney of South Carolina introduced his plan and became known as the stepfather of the Constitution. A great deal of what Pinckney proposed eventually appeared in some form or another in the final Constitution.
I would like for my friend Governor Edmund Randolph of Virginia to present a plan that I have authority for his body's consideration.
There are many things to discuss. First, we need to determine how much power to grant the central government.
It won't be fair for the larger states to have more votes in the central government than the smaller states. If that is the system, the smaller states will always lose.
Another issue is how these representatives will be elected. Should the people of each state elect them or the state legislators?
I suggest we have a Senate and a House of Representatives where all the states will be represented equally in the Senate, and the Senate must approve measures that are approved by the House.
This plan also proposes an executive branch to ensure the will of the legislator is carried out. In addition, the formation of the judiciary and lifetimes of services offered for your consideration.
The delegates discussed the Virginia plan for several weeks. Many issues were discussed. By June 9, 1787, tempers were running high, centered mainly on the representation of states in Congress. On June 11th, Roger Sherman of Connecticut rose and proposed the following.
I propose that the proportion of suffrage in the first branch should be according to the respective numbers of free inhabitants, and that the second branch or senate each state should have one vote and no more.
The discussion about representation went on for weeks. At first, Sherman's plan was rejected, and another called the New Jersey Plan, presented by Josiah William Patterson, seemed to be gaining ground. On June 15, 1787, his plan was rejected, but the small states now had a rallying point from which to defend their beliefs. On June 18, 1787, Alexander Hamilton of New York presented his plan. It was too much like the British form of government and was rejected by the delegates. Hamilton left the convention, but when he returned, he worked on the Committee of Style, which presented the convention with the Constitution in nearly the form we know today. In the struggle for ratification, Hamilton became a champion of the new Constitution and one of the main contributors to the Federalist Papers.
In this short presentation to you, there is no way to go over every detail that occurred at this historic convention. On September 17, 1787, the final draft of the Constitution was signed. Of the 55 people who attended the convention, 39 actually signed. The final day was one of relief for all who remained in Philadelphia. With the signing of the Constitution by the convention's president, the eminent George Washington, and the signatures of each of the attending states, the journey began.
There was one more very important addition, the Bill of Rights. So important was the addition of a Bill of Rights that one was proposed even before the last two states ratified in the Constitution. In December 1791, the Bill of Rights was added to the end of the Constitution, placing some of the strongest protections of individual rights since before or since in force on a national scale.
As president of this convention, I send this message to the president of the Commonwealth that may promote the lasting welfare of the country, so dear to us all, to secure her freedom and happiness.
The Constitution had to be ratified by 9 of the 13 states. Delaware was the first state on December 7, 1787, and the 9th state was New Hampshire on June 21, 1788. The final 4 states were Virginia, New York, North Carolina, and Rhode Island. Rhode Island did not come on board until May 29,
1790. Go.
I said, what? Okay, that hurt again. Oh gosh.
I accept this position.
Wait, what? The governor. Wait, yo, there's a mouse.